Hi, I'm Bea Valdes, Editor-in-Chief of Vogue Philippines, and this is In Vogue. In this issue, we celebrate our creative collaborators whose images elevate our imagination and ground our stories in a shared identity. These are people who form the heart and soul of Vogue Philippines, shaping us over the past 3 years into who we are today. On the cover, we have Ikit Agudo wearing an outfit by Jorel Espina as she surfs along the waves of Siargao. This was shot by Yerg with Archie Giotina for the Pearls project, which began in 2021. By capturing Filipino surfers dressed in culturally significant fashion, this photo series presents surfing as a source of empowerment, a way for women to honor tradition in motion. Now, 4 years later, the project inspires cultural pride beyond our shores, in Thailand, Korea, Indonesia, and beyond. It may have begun with a hyper-local idea, but it taps into something universal. In the same way that waves connect us, our creative mindsets bring us together as image makers and as storytellers. To see how the Pearls project has evolved into a global movement is reflective of what we want to do with Vogue Philippines as well. It honors ancestry, belonging, and pride of place, reminding us that we are not separated, but connected by ideas, by seas, and by the horizon. In this section, Deputy Editor Pam Quiñones thought to create an omnibus of teams behind the scenes, the artists leading the future of Filipino fashion. We begin our story with veteran designer Georgie Lauren, who, working with masters of Philippine fashion like Ino Soto, founded the Fab Creative School in 2019 to mentor the next generation of Filipino talents. Then we look to the pioneers of Philippine fashion industry, who professionalized their roles in the 80s and the 90s, laying the groundwork for the careers we know today. And finally, we capture the creative class of 2025, where established names and bold new voices emerge from behind the scenes to take their place in front of the camera, together. For this story shot by Mark Nicdao, our team gathered over 200 creatives from across 5 groups. These are designers, makeup artists, photographers, and hairstylists who create the images that populate our lives. Seeing everyone together at the shoot felt like a reunion. People were coming in and out, reconnecting, catching up, and some of them meeting for the very first time. Included in our story are designers like Jaggy Glarino, the sole Filipino finalist in this year's Sustasia Fashion Prize, and Roy Gonzalez, the first Filipino to become a chief designer at a French couture house, Pateau. And further into the issue, we meet Filipino artists in Berlin, in Copenhagen, and in Australia who find kinship through solidarity and the spirit of kapwa. On to fashion, we feature 2 more communities: the League of Filipino Actors, known as AKTOR, and the residents of Siargao. Founded during the pandemic, AKTOR advocates for the rights and the well-beings of talents in the Philippine film, TV, and radio industries. What began as a call with 26 actors speaking candidly about the challenges of their job grew into a greater cause. And in this editorial, photographed by BJ Pascual with styling by fashion associates Neil de Guzman and Rene de Guzman, the members of AKTOR form a united front, giving us a glimpse into their vision of a safe and equitable future. For the fashion film shot by Al Amin, members like Isa Calzado, Dolly De Leon, and Piola Pascual captured different emotions to express the challenges that many of us quietly face. It was interesting to see their different techniques on set, like dancing to music or finding comfort in stillness and silence. Getting to witness their devotion to their craft and their community was such a gift, and it resonated with the entire team. For our main fashion story, our team traveled to Siargao with photographer Sharif Hamza and model Natasha Nielsen to learn about life on the island. This opening shot with Natasha and local surfers sisters Ikit and Aping Agudo in the early hours of the morning at the world-famous surf spot Cloud 9 really embraces the notion of working with the local community. As Sharif said, this is not about location as a scene, but as a narrative. And the more we spoke with the residents to hear their perspectives, the more we let go of our predetermined schedules and allowed the story to lead us forward. The shoot was about adjusting on the go, which reflects not only the creative process, but also life in general. So the fashion was about livable pieces, clothes we can enjoy and live in, and easily travel with. Nothing that felt too out of this world. It spoke of what the evolution of fashion looks like, how it has to connect with the needs of real people in context and complexities of these times. Moving on to Vogue Man, we spoke with Jordan Clarkson, a Filipino-American basketball player who carries his heritage with pride in every game and in everyday life. Photographed by David Yerbank and styled by Charlie Ward, Jordan shares memories that shaped who he is today, like watching his grandmother cook adobo in lumpia, surrounded by the warmth and laughter of his family. Right now, Jordan finds purpose in mentoring young players and fellow Filipinos, with whom he finds a sense of brotherhood and belonging. In the beauty and wellness section, we feature 7 Filipinas who stand for progress amidst the call for inclusive representation in the industry. In this editorial, shot by Renzo Navarro and styled by Stephen Corralde, Audrey Carpio writes about the need to reflect diverse realities which we see in the stories of these models. Marina Benipayo reveals her naturally graying hair. Teodora Cordial embraces the curves of her body. And Queenie and Kikay show pride in their indigenous roots. To this shoot, we return to a promise that began 3 years ago, to champion models who celebrate the skin we are in and uphold our heritage, our choices, our hopes, and ourselves. And in the final section, we share the story of Hannah Reyes Morales, a Filipino photojournalist, a Pulitzer Prize finalist, and a first-time mother. This is photographed by Sharif Hamza. Sharif had long been wanting to work with Hannah, and when the opportunity came up to shoot her, we knew that this was meant to be. The image reflects such a powerful message on what it is to be a working mother. It encapsulates how robust the lives of working women are throughout the world. Hannah's own photos appear in the New York Times and National Geographic, often focusing on how humanity endures in times of devastation. But in this story, Raymond Ang writes about Hannah's life on the move and how, as a new mother, her determination and empathic gaze comes from a desire to know what makes a home. Embarking on a new chapter in her life, yet informed by the lives she's witnessed in her work, Hannah makes it a point to share her expertise with young photographers, finding and forming creative communities wherever she goes. And to close our anniversary issue, we have a quote from Chris Barriou of Mason Bucana in Siargao, and he says, "Caring for the community and protecting their environment are not obstacles to prosperity. They are the foundation for lasting success." After all, fashion is more than an industry. It is an ecosystem with communities at its heart. Read all these stories and more inside our 3rd anniversary issue.